Pokemon VGC is complex, strategic, and intricate. As someone who's played the Pokemon trading card game for over a decade, it's always been something I've been interested in. However, the only time I've ever actually played it was when Primal Groudon was, well, good. Or legal, for that matter. So it's safe to say I don't actually know a single thing about the Pokemon VGC. But with Pokemon Champions now being out on mobile, I think it's as good a time as ever to kind of get into VGC, so that's basically exactly what I did. So from the very little understanding I have about Pokemon VGC, it's basically who can commit chemical warfare and violate Geneva Conventions first, right, and more efficiently. Which is great, because I feel very at home. I love committing war crimes. Effectively, you have a team of 6 Pokemon, but you can only choose 4 for each battle, and that is chosen in the selection phase, which apparently is a very vital and super important part of the game. But in all honesty, I kinda just click on the Pokemon I fuck with the most in the moment. And the whole point of training is still super confusing to me, so I'm going to explain it, but I'm going to pretend as if I know everything I'm talking about and as if I am the GOAT. Each Pokemon has 6 teams. Each team has 6 Pokemon, and each Pokemon has a role. They are broken up into 2 roles, I think. There are supporters and not supporters. I know, very difficult to understand. The support's there to set up your attackers and get you into favorable positions to attack. For example, you'll use something like Fake Out on Incineroar while using a power-up move like Dragon Dance on your attacker to increase its stats in a safer environment. Or you'll just use Tailwind, so your Pokemon can all send out ICBMs at an increased speed before your opponent even realizes that they are in an active war zone. Now, each of your Pokemon have, well, 6 stats. There is Attack, Special Attack, Defense, Special Defense, Health, and Speed. Those are the 6. And there are 2 types of attacks. There's Physical Attacks and Special Attacks. Think of it as like the physical one is if I just smack you over the head with a bat, and then the special one is if I hit your granny with a bazooka. If you use a physical attack, then your opponent's physical defense stat will come into play, and determine how much damage you do. The same with special attack and special defense. The HP stat is more simple. More HP stat equals more living and not dying, hopefully. And the speed stat is also very simple. Faster, and you attack first. I think the speed attack matters the most, because who cares about your attack stats if I genuinely just slime you out before you attack? Then there's EVs or IVs or some bullshit like that, which can increase your stats even more, and this is apparently really intricate, but I stole the teams that I use, so I don't really have to think about it. But I think Wolfie, in my own opinion, you should increase the speed stat and the correct attacking stat for your attackers, and then the HP and the defensive stats for your support Pokemon, and you probably should be good. But in the beginning, I recommend just being an illegal European immigrant and stealing teams from better players. Now that you know exactly what is going on, let me show you the team I built, not stole, Incineroar. So this is Computer, and apparently this guy's the GOAT of the Pokemon trading card game, but he looks a bit more like a tiger to me, so I don't know why they'd lie to me like that, but basically he can use Fake Out, which is quite goated because it stops your opponent from moving. It also has a priority thing, meaning it ignores the speed stat and goes first regardless. He also has an ability, which is like a passive thing, and all Pokemon have 1 or 2 or 3, I think. Don't think they only have 4, but it's a 1 to 3. Your Pokemon have 1 to 3 abilities, and his is Intimidate, which I think is widely considered one of the best abilities in the game, because when he comes into play, he lowers your opponent's Pokemon attack stats, not special attack, just attack. Then he has some other really good moves like Parting Shot, which when used will lower your opponent's attack and special attack, but it'll also switch him out. So it's nice because it switches him out, so you can get value out of Intimidate again, like switch him back, and then also you don't have to waste a turn switching into a different Pokemon. It kind of does that same, thing in the same turn. And then he does have some actual attacks that do real damage, like Flare Blitz or something, and this is good at killing Sinistcha. So yeah, pretty neat. He's kind of a cringe Pokemon. Next we've got Staraptor, or should I say NLE Chopper, right? This guy's a fucking menace. He can Mega Evolve, which basically just makes him look like he's about to ask you, why do good girls like bad guys? And he also has a silly ability that doesn't allow his stats to get dropped. So for example, if you got intimidated, his attack would not be lowered, rather increased. And I'm pretty sure it's like called Contrary or something. Contrary to popular opinion. He's a bit of an 8-10 Warthog, dare I say. So if he gets intimidated, like I said, his stats will get increased instead of decreased. And I wish I could tell you more about him, but all I do is click Close Combat, which just murders my opponent's King Gambit, while I get a stat boost. And that's kind of all I do with him. Then we've got Tyranitar, also known as That's Tough. Right, pretty sure this guy has no clue what's going on, but he is genuinely just happy to be here. I hope. He's also a dirty bum, so whenever he spawns in a shit force field, or sandstorm is what the game likes to call it, but we all know it's a shit force field, kicks up. And this is like a weather thing, and it's here to counter the evil rain teams. More on those later. Very evil things. And this allows one of our other Pokemon to be faster, and also does chip damage to Pokemon at the end of the turn, which is pretty cool. I also don't do too much with this guy other than click Rock Slide and hope my opponent flinches and doesn't move, so there's that guy. Then we get Excadrilla, or should I say I Eat Dirt. This guy is a genuine businessman, right? He pulls up to his day job, which is just nuking shit very quickly, and then fucking dying. Right, so I'm pretty sure he becomes faster in the shit field in Sandstorm, right? And yeah, I just, like I said, also wish I could tell you more about him, but I just click Rock Slide on him and hope people flinch. However, I have clicked Earthquake a few times, and I have forgotten that Tyranitar does not fuck with Earthquake, so unfortunately, That's Tough has fallen victim to the Dirt Eater at times. He doesn't mind though, trust me, he's fine with it. Then we got Sylveon, also known as Miku Beam, right? Ignore the cuteness, joy, and whimsy. There is nothing about that Pokemon that is joyous, cute, or whimsical, right? This Pokemon is closer to a nuclear project than Iran is, right? This thing, for some reason, has access to Hyper Beam, which then becomes a fairy move and gains 20% increased power because fuck you, that's why. If you click this attack, your opponent genuinely just gets turned into a memory. Like, it turns them into a was, right? Shadow. And then Sylveon takes a break for a turn, which is fair, you know? If I sent a fucking nuke out of my body, I'd probably want to break as well, right? It also has Hyper Voice, which hits both your opponent's Pokemon and does way too much damage. Way too much. Sorry, I became an American there for a second. It does way too much damage, and then Sylveon is also here to deal with Archaludon from the evil rain teams, and has quickly become my goat of the VGC. Shout out Sylveon. We got Sinistcha, which is honestly just the performative male on this team. This guy's really good at doing nothing but you know, being the center of attention and pissing off your opponents. It's a support Pokemon, right? And it has this attack called a Rage Powder, which genuinely just makes it the center of attention. Like, actually, like, every Pokemon just wants to attack it instead of the other Pokemon, which is kind of funny. And yeah, it's unless you're a Whimsicott. For some reason, Whimsicott doesn't fuck with Sinistcha or performative males. Whimsicott might be a lesbian confirmed, I guess. And now that you know the team, it's time to run it down white boy sexual style. Cue the gameplay segment.
Темная ночь, только пули свистят по степи, только ветер гудит провода, тускло звезды мерцают. В темную ночь ты, любимая, знаю, не спишь, и у детской кроватки тайком ты слезу утираешь.